Okay, hi everyone. This is a presentation done by our firm, Singapore Secretary Services, about hiring a nominee director in Singapore. Okay, so for certain reasons, some people may require that to hire a nominee director, and our firm provides such services. So let's go through some things about hiring a nominee director in Singapore. Okay, so what is a nominee director? So in Singapore, it is actually mandatory for a company to have a local resident director. Okay, local resident director means that the director has to be staying in Singapore. So if a company does not have a local resident director, it can appoint a nominee director. Okay, so this nominee director is actually somebody who you require to sit on the board of your company as the local director, local resident director, to fulfill the requirements that in Singapore, a company has to have a local resident director. Okay, so you literally pay someone or employ someone to sit on your board as the local resident director. Okay, so the nominee director is required to still act in the best interest of the company. So if let's say you are the nominee director, you are not allowed to say that, oh, just because somebody paid me to sit on the board of this company, I can act as an errand director and do not act in the best interest of the company. Okay, you can't do that. Okay, and if a nominee director is actually appointed, the register of controllers must be updated to clearly state the beneficial owner. That means, for example, if let's say somebody from overseas wants to hire a certain Singapore local resident to become a nominee director, this register has to be updated. This register is supposed to be kept in the company's office or in the office of the corporate secretary, and it can be retrieved by ACRA or the police whenever it's required. So there are few registers that have to be updated. So like the register of nominee directors or register of nominee shareholders. So we need to know who are the beneficial owners behind these people, whether these directors or shareholders, right, they are acting on behalf of somebody else. We need to know who the beneficial owner is. Okay, so this register of controllers must be updated. Okay, so when you hire a nominee director under our firm, what needs to be fulfilled? If let's say you're a foreigner and you want to open a Singapore company but you do not have a local director, you can hire our firm and we will appoint a nominee director for you to sit on your company board as the local director. But you yourself will also have to sit as the co-director of the company. So we have one local resident director and another foreign director. Okay, another thing is that the monthly bank statements of your bank account in Singapore, they have to be sent to our firm. So our firm will actually take a look and monitor the bank statements for compliance issues, for compliance purposes. Okay, and lastly, right, you have to sign this nominee director indemnity agreement. Okay, so what are the duties of the nominee director? Okay, if let's say you're a nominee director and you're sitting in the company on behalf of somebody else, on behalf of the beneficial owner, you are still required to act in the best interest of the company. You as a director have to act honestly. You have to exercise care and diligence in handling company matters. And one thing is that you as the nominee director, for us, our firm, we enforce this very strictly. If you are a nominee director, you have to check the bank statements and highlight any irregularities. Okay, so the rule of thumb is that if the volume of monies flowing into the bank is more than 3 times the monthly average volume, you should raise suspicion. Okay, so let me give you an example. If let's say a certain company in January has about $10,000 coming into the bank account. The next month in February, 9,000 goes into the bank account. And the following month in March, 11,000 goes into the bank account. So the total for 3 months is 30,000. You divide by 3 is 10,000. So the average amount of money, the monthly average is actually $10,000 going into the bank account. Okay, if let's say for whatsoever reason, maybe in April, suddenly 50,000 goes into the bank account, which is 5 times the average of the last 3 months. Okay, we require that the nominee director raise suspicion and question the beneficial owner. Why is it that the volume of money flowing into the bank account suddenly spiked? At the same time, we as the filing agent, we will also question the beneficial owner and ask, where is this money coming from? In Singapore, we take money laundering and terrorism very seriously. So if let's say there are irregularities in a bank account, we can take action to question where this money comes from, investigate, and if it's not explained clearly to us why is there this spike, we have the right to report this to the authorities and eventually also strike off the company permanently. So this rule of thumb, our firm enforces pretty strictly. So if you want to use our nominee director services, please remember that the bank statements have to be handed over to our firm, and we will also check for any irregularities. Okay, so the responsibilities of a director. So under ACRA, the business profile, there's only director. There isn't this thing called nominee director. So ACRA only sees who are the directors of the company. So even if let's say you're a nominee director, or let's say you're the foreign director who appointed the nominee director, these are your responsibilities. You must make sure that you hold annual general meetings. You need to make sure that the company files annual returns, and you need to make sure that you have to present the company financial statements to the shareholders. Okay, so even if you are a foreign director and you hire a nominee director, you still have to fulfill your responsibilities. Okay, you cannot fall foul of the Companies Act and say that, oh, I hired a nominee director, so that person take the rap for me. You can't do that. At the same time, the nominee director, right, if you see that these things are not being fulfilled, you please go to the beneficial owner and explain to him, these are the things which are not fulfilled. Okay, so please fulfill them, do not fall foul of the Companies Act. Okay, so the cost for nominee director services under our firm is $200 monthly or $2,000 annually. So if you pay annually, it's slightly cheaper. There's this refundable security deposit of $3,000. So this amount of $3,000, once you terminate the nominee director service, within 7 working days, we will refund this $3,000 to you. And there may be some miscellaneous costs to maybe pass some resolutions, to appoint the director and whatnot. So these are the costs for our nominee director services. Okay, so a few things to take note. Like I mentioned before, if the company is deemed to be engaging in activities which are detrimental to Singapore, involved in money laundering or terrorism activities, we, our firm, reserve the right to strike off the company and report the company to the authorities. Okay, so if your company is struck off, all fees that are paid to our firm is non-refundable. The $3,000 security deposit, right, it will be refunded to you 3 months after we applied for the company to be struck off. The main reason for this is that there are these 3 months that you have to place that the company is going to be struck off on the government gazette. So if there's no objections, then the company will be struck off after 3 months. So after the company has confirmed been struck off, then this $3,000 security deposit will be refunded to the beneficial owners, okay, within 7 working days. Okay, so if you're keen to engage our nominee director services, or you want to know more, you can contact my colleague Corinne. That's her contact number and email address. I'm Daryl. That's my contact number and my email address. Okay, so that's all for today.